Hello, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? I am going to start tonight with a chart of I hope everyone's all right. You know, the kind of falls that we've had. Oops, I need to kill this sound, don't I always do this. There we go. Hello everyone. I hope everyone's all right. Listen, the kind of moves that we've had in the last week, some people are likely to have been wiped out. Some people are going to be looking at really, really bad drawdowns. And the fact is that sometimes, you know, even if you're expecting it to happen, even if somebody told you it was going to happen, the kind of week that we had last week, you know, where we dropped from 46, what did we go down to? 46 down to 30. You know, they're not fun. They're not fun. Now, we're going to talk about the bottom tonight. I want to talk about this little bounce that we've got going on off the lows, though, first of all, because we've got some really nice conditions for Bitcoin to rally. We've got a really nice rally going on in stock markets. This is the S&P 500. We have got the dollar index, which has been knocked back at resistance. If we look at this dollar index here, and so I've got my fib retrace levels on from the lows in January to the highs that we made in April, 1st of April. See how each one of these fib levels has been initially support, then resistance, support, then resistance, support, resistance. This is where we are with Bitcoin right now. We are stuck in between this 786 and this 886. Now, most people, you know, with a simple fib tool wouldn't have the 786 or 886. And you're probably going to go, well, where do they come from? Well, the 786 fib is the square root of 618. And 886 is the square root of 786. And yeah, they do really work. So weakness, or at least sideways, no dollar strength anyway, which would be a bit of a drag for Bitcoin, and very often is a drag for Bitcoin. And general kind of risk appetite, you know, is what we do need to see a bounce in Bitcoin. Here's the problem for me, though. This pattern that we've just made here, if we reverse in this pink zone, is something called a Gartley pattern. It's a very old harmonic pattern. So from when I put my fib retrace on from highs to lows, when your first swing goes to the 61.8 and then your second swing goes to the 786, and this is a 1272 extension of this high to low. And the best Gartley patterns are also, let me hide this, when you've got an ABC, so equal measured move from this high to low. So you can see that that's exactly where we've stopped tonight at 4209. The high is where we are an ABC equal measured move from the lows. And we've also here in this C leg got 5 waves, I think, or it looks like 5 waves, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying that we are going to reverse here in the S&P, and I'm not saying that, you know, because there's clearly no sign, even if we go down to a lowest time frame, we've literally only just got to this level. There's absolutely no sign of a reversal at this level yet. But in this entire drop, if you ask me down here, where I'd like to sell the S&P again, this would be the level. And this is exactly the pattern that I would want to see. So it may be that we've had Mutual Fund Monday, and we are likely to see another leg lower down in these stock indexes. And if we were to do that, yeah, this would be a good place to do it from. So that is why I'm a little bit cautious about being super bullish Bitcoin. So I just want to mention that about the S&P. We'll see what happens there. You know, very often, especially if you see big moves in Asian trading, very often on a Monday, that's the high or the low for the week. So I'm just being a little bit cautious. Now, let's start with what daily candlesticks are telling us about Bitcoin and whether this weekly is in. Well, this is a weekly chart. You can see that we held and closed back above this weekly 50% retrace really nicely. That means normally for me, if we go beyond this 38.2 when we back test it, that we should retrace 50% of the drop. However, there's a few things, 50% of this last week's open close is going to be resistance. When we look at this on the daily as well, we've also got the resistance. We're still stuck underneath the 200-day moving average as well. So basically, we've got a little bit of a range trade. And if we see on a lower time frame that we're kind of coiling up, which we seem to be a little bit, we could also be making a triangle here. And that's quite important because very often you will break lower with the trend if you've got a triangle, and it's usually the last leg of the sequence. So if we were to draw a triangle here, these are our lows, and this will be our high. And Elliot, if this was going to be a triangle, they're normally 5 waves. So this is the downtrend, then you go A, B, C, D, E. So we could get a little bit chewed up here in this sideways range in Bitcoin. Just saying. That's the bearish scenario for Bitcoin. For me though, this is a slightly high low. If we keep going, if we keep eating up these moving averages, at some point, or if we go back to almost every other low that Bitcoin's made, at some point we will stop and we will pull back and we will have a retrace, likely 50 or 61.8. I'm not sure where we do it from. We might actually even go to the top, and I had thought that these previous highs might catch us, and they still might. We still might get stuck there. So here is our bullish scenario. We get stuck at these highs, we have a nice 50% pullback, and we have this Adam and Eve kind of bottom then, don't we? We have the Adam spike bottom, and we have this kind of nice rounded retest with an inverted head and shoulders pattern or something that looks like that. That would be the more bullish idea. We might keep going, we might get all the way up to here, and then we see our 50 moving up to 41, the high of this range, and this 38.2 fib level on the back test. You can see I'll put the fibs on the right here. So we might get all the way up here before we see our sort of bigger pullback, 50%. But at some point we will have one. If we look, this was quite squeezy off this low. At some point you see we come all the way back and then we go up again. Almost, if you go back to almost every bottom that Bitcoin has made, that's what we see. It's just sometimes we go, much higher than people want before that happens. And people get terrible FOMO, especially the more bearish you were or the lower that you sold your position. Because I believe that a lot of people, if we look at this weekly candle, a lot of people last week, around in the mid-40s thought that this was this low, and this, drop down was Dr. Sirius. I completely agree. The retest is the test. It's a very Bitcoin thing to do this on a bottom, actually, to make a low and then a slightly lower low, run all the stops underneath it, and then here, like we did here, low, slightly lower low, and then off we go. You have a low, slightly lower low, rip everybody's face off, and then with a rally, and that happens quite a lot in Bitcoin. I see it. So, but yeah, just sometimes we have to wait for our pullback, for a bit longer than others. So I can't tell you right now where it's going to happen. That's the key thing. But I think, if you put a gun to my head, if people who bought the bounce off the low, you may see profit taking at 40,000. And 40,000 would be this hourly 200 moving average around there. I think that would be probably the first place that I would look. And the other thing is, if this is a triangle, what happens is the fib retrace levels tend to match up. So if, for example, from this low to high, this was an 886 deep retrace. So if we go the other way, we might see that all the way up there at this 886 as well, 41. But if this 786, 4150, I think is the next If we break these highs, that's the next resistance. And then we'll see a bigger pullback there. Then we're likely to see a move like that, and back to the 38.2, maybe a little bit lower. But at the moment, this prior high, this is really our hourly trend, isn't it? If you think that a trend is lower lows and lower highs, these are the highs that we have to take out to reverse the trend. So this is the first place that we are looking for a pullback. So we've had a few hours of sideways this afternoon in US trading. If we can't make a new high here and we have a little dip, then we'll see how far back we go. As you know, I always put on and look for that 236 fib. So from the low here, if we were pulling back, for me, we would break this 236. This is where we tagged an hour ago. So from this low to this high, this 236 is the fib trend support, if you like. Okay, so if that breaks, 36888, yeah, we'll look back down here and see. If we don't get a buy signal here, then, you know, potentially we're going all the way back down to the lows, but I'm not kind of feeling that now. Is it true that you should buy high and sell low? No, you should try and do the opposite. The problem is, psychologically, it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. And it's very hard to do as well if you've had a lot of your account wiped out. But here's the thing though, people who get caught in a sell-off and who are, you know, always say to me, you know, they can't take any more pain. If it goes any lower, they'll have to get out. And to be quite honest, you know, once we got down here, the risk is much, much higher that we're going to go up rather than down, even if we do. And at this point, I hate selling the lows. I hate selling the lows because if you think you're in pain when you're offside and down here, try selling it here and then watching it go up without you, because trust me, that's much worse pain. And the only way to avoid that is to not have too much leverage. Because if you're just holding Bitcoin without leverage or whatever coin it is, then you've always got that however many Bitcoin or whatever, no matter how low it goes. They can't squeeze you out of your position. Whereas if you have leverage, they can. That's the thing. So I think at this point, there's a pretty good chance that the low is in and that we're going to hold this 34,389 level on a close basis. But if we go to the weekly chart, we have not caught up this weekly 50 moving average, and that's what I normally like to see. So one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to rally and then can drop lower and say hi to that moving average before we go up again, or we're going to do a big rally and then another leg and retest or a higher low, and by the time we come back for our retest or higher low, you know, this moving average will have caught up. I sound like fish and chips. Okay. All right then. So how are we trading this? Well, what I'm looking for this pullback in this lower high here. I'd like to see that, and that would make me buy it here. If we squeeze higher, I'd like to see it above that 200 moving average, then I would buy more. Yeah, if we don't, so if we go a little bit higher and then we go all the way back down in a triangle, I'm going to sit on my hands, okay, and I'm going to be stalking an entry at 27, just above 27,000. Yes, if you look on the list, on the text, under this video screen, I have got the list of coins that I'm going to be looking at, and MATIC is one of them. How is gold looking for me? Well, gold, you know, gold doesn't tend to do well when the stock market is rallying, and when, but it does do well when the dollar is weak. I think if we see a reversal in stocks or another pullback in stocks, and the dollar stays weak, that is ideal conditions for gold to rally. And I am not necessarily, I'm not bearish gold at all. I'm just trying to find my gold chart. Here we go. Here's a daily chart of gold. In fact, I think in gold that we should see, I really like this breakout from this channel. I really like that we're back above these moving averages, and this is the 50% level that very often stops you. And you can see in the last couple of days this was resistance and it's now support. In gold, I'm looking for us to hold 1876, not go back underneath it. And I'm looking for 1923 next in gold. And that's going to be a very big deal level. I recommend you take some profit there. If we zoom all the way out, that was the high all the way back in 2011. And if we look here, you can see this red line. It was quite important support and resistance, a little bit fuzzy, but so 1920 to 1923, I think we should see a nice rally in gold, Ignace. So yeah, and I will look at Ripple for you. Hi Connor, good to see you. I'll make sure it's gets put on the end. Okay, let's go then. So we're going to do the requests in order. Now, quite a lot with this bounce off the lows in Bitcoin. An awful lot of altcoins looks really good with this one. I was really quite impressed. And they all had this similar pattern. So the similar pattern was they had all made 3 waves down. They'd all come down to the 200 moving average, and they were all at either a really interesting fib level or support and resistance. And in this case with Lend, that's exactly the lovely ingredients that we've got here. We pull back to a 61.8 fib, the 200-day moving average, previous lows, you know, this previous double bottom, we couldn't close underneath it. And so this is, you know, I say very often, you know, when you draw a trend line, so when I draw a trend line, third touch is very often a false breakout, so I can't, and that happens also with tops and bottoms. You'll have a touch, first touch, second touch, third touch is very often a false breakout, and that's exactly what we've seen here in Lend. So false breakdowns are really powerful reversal signals. So when you reverse it to 61.8, your first target is the 38.2, and that's in this case is a really good target in terms of look at these highs and lows at this level, support, resistance, the daily 50 moving average. So the first place that we're likely to have a bit of a knockback or a pullback is going to be that 422. And our second target, if we go beyond 422 and get beyond those daily moving averages, is this a backtest to this 236 fib level up here at 516. So really though, with this ABC correction in Lend, I think that we should see new highs, to be honest. This should be correction over. We're not going to go up in a straight line. And remember, very often your first pullback off the lows is at least a 50% retrace. So yeah, 50, 61.8. So buy the first pullback, stalk it, like put Lend on your list, watch it, watch. I really like high Kanashi candles. Okay, wait and see some red ones, and then when they go green again, it's time to go up. It's really that simple with these high Kanashi candles. You know, we've gone green in a straight line without any pullback, so this is not a great place to buy Lend. But these previous highs here and these lows here might just stall us a bit for a little bit. You see what I mean here with these highs and lows? So if they were to do that, and see how we went sight, if we were to do a little bit of this, if everything sells off a bit, if you were to get a little shallow pullback here in Lend, I think that would be a really nice long entry. So that is one of my favorite charts, no doubt about it. Just would like to see a bit of a pullback to buy. Because I guarantee you, if you buy it here, it will be the high, and then it will pull back and you'll go, oh my God, why did I listen to her? What am I doing? Before it goes back up again. So that's just how it works. Okay, that's Lend, AAVE. Here's Sol. Let's go to the weekly chart of this one. And we'll put regular candles on. This was, again, a lovely, lovely bounce from a 61.8 fib level. Weekly 20 moving average, and so a lovely place to rally from. Sadly not quite to the daily 20 moving average, which makes me a little bit nervous. I would really like to see us back above these other daily moving averages in the middle to be sure that we're going up and not going to see one more leg lower. So when you reverse, let's go to a 4 hour and look at this with Heiken on, because we've gone green all the way. When you reverse it to 61.8, your first target is the 38.2, and then the second target would be the 236 fib. At one of these two, you're going to do a 50% pullback. And this 50% in the middle is a bit of a pivot level usually. And if we go left on our charts here, highs, lows, we could even just get knocked back from here in Sol. And then if that happens, I'd be looking for a double bottom or quite a deep pullback. So watch out for that in Sol. Now, a close and hold above 29.70, which is that 50% level, would be, I think, quite bullish. So we haven't closed yet tonight. Again, I think this might be where we have we might be at the place where we get our pullback to buy Sol. But otherwise, there's lots to like about this. It's just this one, it's, and the 200 moving average down here, it's not 100% clear that this is the bottom. It's a bit like Bitcoin. Okay, so we've done Sol. We're going to look at BNB. We've got some pretty good charts to look at tonight, I think. Okay, so here I've got my notes on here. This is when it was up here. BNB has good support. Okay. So if we cannot hold this support here, 153 is where the most confluence is. I'm going to take that away. At the moment, though, we are bouncing pretty nicely here. One of the things that makes me a little bit concerned is this 5 waves down? And see, my favorite corrections are really simple 3 waves like this. This was clearly a 3-wave correction. So when you break out of this consolidation, it's a no-brainer to buy this. And here, this was clearly 3 waves of correction. So when you break out higher from this, it's a no-brainer that we're still going up. Now when I look at this, this all looks like one drop. And so a little bit in BNB, it makes me a little bit nervous that we're not going to do, we could do a big like this in BNB. Now, let's face it, we're at 320. If we rallies all the way back to the daily moving averages at 530, that's still a really nice trade. So, let's not knock it. But I am going to say that if you do buy BNB, that we do have some troublesome resistance at 530 and potentially at 430. So those are the 2 levels that I'm going to be looking at on the upside. 430, they're easy to remember, 430 and 530. It looks like one too big of a drop, Doesn't look like a nice Elliott wave guy. I'm glad you agree with me. Long term. Sometimes though, these B legs are really easy to trade. Sometimes they're horrible, but you never know. So long term, it's not looking terribly good in BNB. Short term though, yeah, I think we should see a much bigger bounce from here. And so we should be buying stalking pullbacks, And again, I always like to see that first big thing off the low and then look for that really nice pullback. Yeah, RLC too. And some of the ones that have been really outperforming as well, like MATIC, we're going to look at MATIC later. So that's my opinion of BNB. I think we're going to have a spectacular bounce. I think that 430 for sure, and very likely 530, and then we'll worry about that. Short term, if you want to buy it, here we are, just like Bitcoin. We're back at that last high before we went lower. That's very often the place where you see the first pullback from, and so look for 50% back if we're going to go up, or 61.8 and that. So just that's how these levels tend to work. Okay. Okay. So that was BNB. Next one we're going to look at is Luna, and then Ada, and then Cake. Okay, so first off, Luna. It's very hard picking bottoms. It's a very hard thing to do. You know, I feel like, you know, even if you're the best Elliott wave counter in the world, it always seems to manage to get in an extra leg sometimes. And so, you know, I'm not 100% sure. I think it looks good. Yeah, I agree with you. I can dig out an ABC, but a giant C, yes. No, we haven't. Did I miss ETH? Gosh, did I miss ETH? I better do ETH after Luna then. That would be bad. That would be bad. So let's take a look at this, because we are at a pretty important resistance level, and never mind anything else. This 200-day Luna US dollar tether has this newly minted 200 moving average, which first time back to it, we are likely to get knocked back. We are, and you know how far we get knocked back. I'm hoping, you know, a nice. In most of these altcoins, I'm pretty sure that we can count 5 waves up. Okay. No, I haven't done VeChain. It's not on the list. I'm pretty sure I can count 5 waves up, which means to get in, I'd like to see a nice 3-wave correction. Was this little one here and we're going to keep going? It might be. I hope not. But yeah. If we don't make a new high though, if we don't make a new high here and we do another one, that's going to be your long entry. And if we look at this on the hourly here, that's our bullish cross of our hourly moving averages, and then up we go in Luna Tether. Why would we want to buy Luna? Because above the 200 moving average, we should see more upside. And in this one, it's not super clear, but it does have at least more of a 3-wave look to it, doesn't it? This B leg is a little bit funky in the middle, but like a lot of alts, yeah, it has a bit of a better look, let's put it that way. So if we zoom out to the weekly, where did we come back to? Because these kind of fibrils really help with upside targets. In this case, they don't help. I really don't find any of these fib levels lining up, which is a little bit frustrating. So I'm going to say worst case, we'll just take the most recent swing and I'll look at Luna's launching. Okay. Luna has had a pretty good bounce. Some of these altcoins have had just the most amazing bounces. It's just at some point though, they all do correct. They all do pull back and let you in. Usually it's when you give in and you say, I can't stand it any longer, it's never going to come back, I'm just going to buy it now. It really does. Okay, you just bought some. Okay. Make sure Luna makes a new high. If it doesn't, it's just going to do a little 3-wave correction like that. This bullish cross of this moving averages is really nice. And if you keep your stop underneath this swing low here, you should be fine with Luna. Okay? You put 1K in on Bitcoin at 24K. You put an order there. I don't think we'll go to, you know, I think that 27,000 is a really good bet, but I don't know that we're going to go to 24,000. But you know, if we overshoot, then yeah, well done. If you get filled, well done, of course. Yeah, so Luna, that's what I'm looking for in Luna. Some of these are looking really good. Now I'm going to go back into Ethereum because apparently I didn't do it and I should have, which is not good. Oh, when it dipped. Oh, you bought it. Okay. Now, let's put our... Okay. So when I was looking at where we would pull back to, ETH should find support 1750, 1780 down here, and that's exactly where we did find support. That is, that is the 61.8 retrace level as well. And if we go to our daily, it's just above our 200 moving average. So we've bounced from the ideal support. When you reverse at a 61.8 fib back above the 50% confirms the bullish reversal. So I'm no longer looking for it to continue down and hit this 200 moving average. And I'm looking for it to go to at least 27.43 next. This 50% level is now support. We shouldn't go back beneath it, 22.37. And if we squeeze beyond this 38.2 level, I'm looking all the way up here at 33.70. Now, this is another one where I think this might, we might see a big bounce and then a big retrace in this one. It's not clear that this leg lower is like a correction complete. In fact, yeah, I'm going to be very cautious about ETH and what I say. And the other reason, I was really bullish on ETH for quite a while, but Ethereum Bitcoin reached the big 50% pullback level. So by that, I mean, here, from all-time lows down here to the all-time highs up here, when we pulled back in ETH, we did one of those 886 bottoms, double bottom down here at the 886 fib level. One of my fib rules is if you reverse at an 886 fib, you go back to backtest the 50%. And then, but if you go beyond that 50%, your next target is up here at the 236 fib. Backtest that. So that would be our next target. Not there yet. Here we've gotten knocked back. If we had broken under this, I would be really bearish. But I don't feel when I look at this as well, this is like this is clearly to me 5 waves down. So I'm going to watch and see how this unfolds. If it goes 5 waves up, then we've got some kind of corrective pattern going on. But if we see 3 waves up here, then I think we'll see another leg lower for Ethereum Bitcoin, and that a bigger high may be in place. So when you reverse it to 50%, you're looking for 50% back, and that would mean all the way down here towards this 200-day moving average as well. So I'm not necessarily ETH Bitcoin and ETH dollar. I'm not as bullish as I was when it was down at the lows, unfortunately. I think we are maybe due for a bigger pullback in Ethereum. So, hello. Okay. Now let's look at ADA, because and so that's why I'm not necessarily Anyway, here at the 61.8, I don't think we're going to do little head and shoulders pattern here. I think we're going to keep going to this 38.2. What normally happens here is you'll pull back 50% to the 50% level in the middle, and then if we're going to keep going higher, we'll turn higher from here. So if you're looking for where to pull back to, or if you're going to bed and thinking, where should I leave an order overnight? I would say just above 22.37, maybe 22.50. That would be a good level to leave an order for a pullback in Ethereum US dollar. Now, even if we don't get all the way up there, even if we do stop here and we do that little head and shoulders pattern, that still would be a really good place to leave your order. So that's what I'd be looking for if you really do like ETH and you want to grab some more. That would be where I would be looking. So no FOMO, buy pullbacks, right? No FOMO. ETH US dollar 22.37. How about ADA? Now, before this happened, ADA was one of my favorite charts. And the reason was, and let's tidy up this chart. The reason was, when I look at this weekly, we were still in a really solid uptrend in ADA. I know this is like a horrendous candle, and it was a horrendous candle. But when we look, really we kind of held these weekly closing prices on a close basis, and we held the weekly 20 moving average, and these lows, really the lows of this range was where we've actually found support, wasn't it? So we dipped back into this range, this sideways range, but we closed back above it. For me, that's like really quite bullish at this weekly chart. And so here we are sitting on this support level, and I know we keep dipping underneath it, but we closed back. So yeah, I'm kind of really liking ADA now. Where are we though in our, with what's going on in ADA here? Because if I measure from this high to this, all the way down to this spike low, and I project it from this bounce, which was a nice A, B, C, 3 legs, where we bottomed was almost exactly, we were like $2 short of it or something. No, not dollars, but 61.8 of this first swing. And that's very common in corrections, where the third leg is 618 of the first leg. So this was in fact perfect buy place. And yeah, it got front run by a few pennies, but that was it in ADA. So I'm kind of super bullish here, and I would love to, with this spike bottom and then this rounded retest, I'd love to see a little head and shoulders pattern form here, and I would use this 4-hour 200 moving average as my head neckline for a run higher. So yeah, that's why I like ADA. Now, these are all for technical reasons. Sometimes people, you know, I'll say I like something because of the chart, and somebody will send me a great long message about why it's a piece of shit coin and nobody blah blah blah. And I don't look at fundamentals. I'm telling you now, I don't look at them. I look at sentiment. So if everybody's talking about something on Twitter and it's hot, 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 the price is going to go up, and at some point it's going to stop going up. When everybody's talking about it, it's going to stop going up. So yeah, don't at me with the fundamental stuff. Adam, oh my God, I've got some horror stories. I've got some horror stories, you know, the last one into the last ICO before the ICO market died, and yeah, we've all got them. I bought my first, Adam says he bought ADA for 3 cents and sold it at 12 cents. I bought, how much did I buy? I bought, did I buy? I bought 300 Bitcoin when they were $11. And I sold them when they were $220. And I really thought I was a genius. At the time, I think it was the best trade I'd ever done. Yeah, let's not talk about, we've all got those stories. There you go. Can you imagine if I had, yeah, anyway. That was fun. Now, of course, I've got thousands of Bitcoin. That's why we're all here, right? So, okay. I know, I really thought I was so clever as well. And then then Mt. Gox, I lost money in Mt. Gox. And it really put, you know, the Mt. Gox thing really put me off for a while, because yeah, I just thought I didn't feel safe in any of the exchanges, you know? Just didn't feel safe. So there you go. That's life, isn't it? What about that guy, you know, with all of those Bitcoins on his laptop that's at some council dump somewhere that he wants to excavate and get his laptop back? Those stories, I just, you know, sometimes, you know, you just got to let them go. So anyway, that's why I really like ADA. I'd really like a little pullback here. So what if we pull back here? Honestly, when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to put an order 50% back from where we are and just see if I get filled overnight. So 50% back from where we are now, if we don't go any higher, would be 1.3. And I'm going to put it a little bit above there because I don't like being a dick for a tick and not getting filled. So I know it's not the Orangeman. I have done that math. So yeah, I know. It's not even There you go. So yeah, just above 1.3, maybe 1.32. I think I'm going to try and put an order down here, see if we can get some. Okay, so cake. Cake, cream, sushi. We've got a proper dinner tonight here, haven't we? Okay, let me tell you, you know, at the time of Mt. Gox, like, everybody thought Bitcoin would never come back. Like, oh, I know. it's you know, your emotions. It's all about emotions, isn't it? So we're looking at cake here. We've done a really deep retrace in this cake chart, a really deep one. And then it's like, and this is the thing, this is though, has a very nice, clear 5 waves up. So the key question is, have we got 3 waves back? Sometimes when you look at this, you think you haven't. But, you know, I've talked before about corrections. So if we were to have a big rally, normally we would look for 3 waves back, wouldn't we? 3 waves back and carry on. And the important thing is that this one in the middle also is 3 waves. Okay, like that. Now sometimes in a really squeezy market, it'll be like this, and so your correction, instead of instead of your correction, you know, being like that, and you carry on lower, sometimes you'll do this, and then it'll look like that. Okay, and I think that this might be one of those ones. And one of the clues when I'm always looking is, are the 2 bounces equal? Because if this bounce and this bounce were equal, then that would say that that's maybe what we've got here. So we've got A, and then this is B, and then this is C, sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happened here. In fact, you know, and on the surface, this all looks to me like it just fell out of bed in a hurry. But, so we'll use our fib rules to see how high at least this first bounce will be. Because I think that this is a nice 886 reversal. It is. We've held it on the close very nicely, which means our first target on the upside here in cake is the back test of this 50%, which is at 26.28. And if we go back beyond it, then our back test is the 236 next. So this is a really nice chart. These daily moving averages are where our target is. So Bitcoin's on the move, is it? Elon. Elon Musk has tweeted. I don't have. Let's see what he said. I know he tweeted like last week, diamond hands. Okay, he says, spoke with North American Bitcoin miners. Because it's all his bullshit, wasn't it, with about energy that triggered all of this. I don't know. I don't think that anybody should be, you know, able to move the market the way he does. You know, it really is frustrating. Okay, so we're going to do the all the way up. Let's see how far we go then with Bitcoin. Boom, boom. Honestly, if you're feeling FOMO because you're still not in, I promise you, at some point we will have a 50% retrace that will get you in. So don't, like, I mean, I'm not, like, I can't promise, but, you know, it would be very weird if we didn't, okay? It would be very, very unusual. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's go back to cake. So a lot of these altcoins have really nice bullish patterns. So for me, one of the things when I'm not sure, have we reversed, the confirmation that we've made a bottom and reversed is getting above the 236 fib. And very often the first time back to it, it's resistance. And here in Cake, that level is at 17.66. So if you're wondering at what level will we have our first pullback, I'm pretty sure it will be 17.66. And if we don't, if we go beyond that level, it will become support. Okay? I am so sick to death of Elon. Yeah. So we can see we've also got some previous highs here. So around here underneath this, and then confirmation that we're going up and on our way to that 50% target will be above this 236 fib. So 17.66 is a level to watch in Cake, and 26.86 is our first target. If we can, now if we fail here, this would be bad. But if we can't get above this, then we're still in a downtrend. So it's important. Next one is SUSHI. Messy chart. I've got messy chart. Okay. God, that didn't work, did it? We went well beyond. Well beyond. This is another one that made this 886 reversal. Now, if you're thinking, gosh, 886, are we ever going to come back from that? You know, after the 2017-2018 bull run, most of these altcoins pulled back to 886 fib levels and then made new highs. So, yeah, we are. In fact, this first pullback here came all the way back there, and then look what we did. In fact, we could do it like this. We put it on. There, can you see how I've got my fib from this? This was an 886 low here. Then look what we did after that. So we don't need to, yes, it was a deep pullback, but it wasn't a new low. Okay, so that's what we've done here. So again, we've reversed an 886. This back tested the 786. Or is usually where the 236 is as well, and if we get above it, we're going to look for that 50% and then that. And so first target 1.1047, second target 1.54. Let's go the other way around, and what level will confirm our reversal. You could put it on here, but gosh, I'm going to say that one. So we've got resistance coming up at 0.63, and then above there, the next resistance at 0.7659. Above 0.7659, I think that we have the bottom in, and we will have a bit of maybe a dance around the 200 moving average, but we will keep going up. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking at Ocean, which is the wrong one. Ah, how did I do that? Sorry. Let's look at SUSHI, my bad. Let's put all these the same colour, which would help. Okay. Very nice. This is because SUSHI's quite new. We don't have all of our moving averages on the weekly, but on the daily we do. We have the lovely 200-day moving average, 61.8 fib level, and that's where we have reversed very nicely after a textbook, I think, 3-wave correction. So we had 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 61.8. This is textbook for new highs. These two legs were equal. So don't Miranda. Okay, so we've got a bit of resistance at this 50% level, haven't we? These got these lows here, these lows in the middle, 12.006. I think that we could have a pause here, and you see how it's these lows here, highs. And if we were going to do that bottoming pattern thing here, this would be maybe where we see it as well in this one. So there we go. Now, if we don't, if we go beyond this 50% up to say the 200 moving average, then this 50% level and these previous highs and lows become support. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. One of those two things. So if you're looking to buy sushi, that would be it. If you are buying the breakout here above this support and resistance level, bear in mind that it may very well get retested. Okay? 12.006. If we can close above it, it should become support. Okay, and then the next upside target, somehow I've got my 38.2 fib missing. I'll pop it in, and next upside target will be here at 14.7 and then 18. But because we've got this really lovely textbook three-wave back, I don't see why we shouldn't see new highs in sushi. So let's hope. 28 and 34, but yeah, this, I think sushi is a really, really nice setup. And see if we 10.33, all these lows and highs, 200-day moving average. If we were to get a deeper pullback in this one, which it doesn't look like we will, very often, sometimes the first moves, once people realize it's turned around, gets really squeezy, and this is looking really quite squeezy in sushi. But yeah, we should see new highs from here in sushi. I really do like this chart a lot. 1 inch. Let's go back and look at 1 inch. This is another one that looks very nice, but I don't like it as much as sushi. Whenever you have what looks like a three-wave correction, ABC, whatever, 3 waves, if you don't make 5 waves and you pull back, your target is usually the 786 fib, and that's exactly what we've done here. Now, because this first wave was 3 waves, then I think we can measure from this first wave where this third wave will go. So as long as this B wave is complete, but I think it is. Anyway, if we use our fibs for target, our first target here in 1 inch, our first target is going to be 5.15. I've got chart gone mad here. Okay, and that's because if you reverse it to 786, the 38.2 is your first target, and the second target is this 236. So first target is 5.15, and it's confirmed if we get above these lows here at 3.47. So the meat in our sandwich, if you like, is the trade between here and here, and potentially here. Okay, and if we measure from this low to this high, and we project it from here, I think we're going for the second one, because that's where this swing would be 61.8 of this swing. And so then we can say, right, we would expect actually that this is our target, and we're going to go up there in a 3-wave pattern. So I don't know how that'll be, but it'll be something like that. So yeah, 1 inch. This is a weekly chart, looking very good. So let's go down to the daily, see where we might have a bit of trouble first off, or we'll sort of buy the first pullback, and I'm not quite sure where that'll be. These highs, it might happen here. If we look, we do have a bit of a level here. These hourly closes, this high. Maybe we have a pullback here. Maybe we come all the way back and pull back. At some point, we will have a nice hourly pullback, though, in 1 inch. Okay, so 3.47 confirms the bullish reversal, and then your target is 6.18. So risk reward from here to here, that's a really nice trade too, I think, in 1 inch, even if it's not, the most bullish chart we're looking at. Okay, so MATIC. MATIC is one that sort of really, really outperforms everything, and just like Let's start on the weekly chart of MATIC. I'm going to put log scale on to start off with, and we'll take a bit of this off. Because clearly, whichever way you look at this, there really wasn't any damage to our uptrend in MATIC. One of the things that makes me a little bit nervous though is if this is a 1, so if this is a 1, 2, big 1, 2, and then this is 1 of 3, 2 of 3, this big 3 of 3 in the middle here that we've done, I can count 5 ways up now, which means that we're at a risk of a bigger correction in MATIC and potentially down to here, these previous lows. Now that looks reasonable when we're looking at log scale. It looks completely unreasonable when we look at it in linear, doesn't it? So maybe we've already done our correction. And when I look at this and I see this previous low, I'm thinking we have. And this one, honestly, look at this. So 3 waves down on our way back up again. This is another one where I think we're going for new highs. We're going to do wave 5 of 3. And we need a pullback to get in. So if we look at this rally off the lows on the 4 hours, it's been green without even looking back. Same thing here. But at some point, we will get that bigger pullback, and you need to line up to buy MATIC. I don't know where it's going to stop, but we've got a big wave 5 coming up. So I really like Heiken-Ashi. 5 ways up. I would put my, once we roll over, which we're not doing yet, I'll put my fibs on this high to low. If we break the 236 fib, which we're just sitting on just here, right? Then that's when I'm getting excited that we might see something. And I'll be looking like 50% back, 61.8, somewhere in that zone. A pullback to there. Okay, so if we break this low, a pullback to the middle, and then I'm a buyer. I do really love this chart. And I know we're right up there, but I just don't see it. You know, it's done its big correction. Bigger one, but I don't think so. Okay, MATIC, love it. RUNE. Where's that little RUNE gone? Gosh, how did I lose RUNE? Okay, never mind. We'll make a new RUNE chart. That's okay. We'll look at RUNE Tether. We're going to start with the weekly chart. This is linear. This is the real where we are. So really nasty. 1 week, gosh. 1 week. Any kind of leverage in this and you would have been. So we've done that 61.8 reversal. That's pretty nice. Remember, when you do that, the 50% becomes a little bit of a pivot level. If we were to have a pullback, this would be a good place to do it from. It's at 10.8. And then when we get above 10.8, target's 30.2716, so on. So here we are, and you can see resistance, support, resistance. So 10.8 is a big deal level. We're either going to have a pullback just ahead of it, or at it, or we're going to get above it and then it will become support. And I don't know which, to be honest. I think I see 5 up, so I'd like to see 3 back. And I'm a buyer. And 8.32 would be a really nice level to buy against in RUNE. So what's Elon done? Honestly, I know it's really hard if you've been waiting for that pullback to buy. Now we're at this 100 moving average. Gosh, let's hope that's not. We will get one. Elon's tweet is bullshit. The miners want to stay anonymous. Of course not. And you know, here's the thing about renewable energy. It's not terribly reliable. You know, whether you do wind or whatever, or solar, you know, if it's wind and the wind doesn't blow for a few days, your power's coming from somewhere else. if it's solar and the sun doesn't come out for a few days, which even in the desert does happen, you know, I don't know. We really should be doing all our mining in the Arctic Circle and Norway, or no, countries that, you know. Anyway, I just don't think it's any of Elon's. It is true that mining Bitcoin takes a lot of energy, but so we've squeezed up higher. Now, up until now, from this high to the low, if we go down to a 15-minute here in Bitcoin, you'll see off the lows that these fib levels worked really well. So first time we came back to the 236 fib, we had a 50% pullback. This 38.2, we had a nice pullback, and so on. This 50% knocked back. 61.8 was messy, wasn't it? So a teeny bit higher to 40,100. Don't underestimate how strong, even though we've washed through it, the round number $40,000 is a big deal. We could see some profit taking there. But yeah, here we are back at 40 already. 2 days ago, you know, when we were in all that pain. Truly though, nobody is feeling more pain than the people who sold down here or who were shaken out. That is the, and if you're in that pain, I hope you remember it. Okay. I mean, not that, you know, just it's very hard when you're scared sometimes. I know, you think that it's never going to stop going down. But it gets to a point where it's so oversold or it's gone so far that the risk reward really is much higher that it will bounce than keep going. And sometimes, you know, you just got to walk away, have a drink, and come back and a bit later. And it, if this trading was easy, everybody would do it. It's the hardest, most simple thing you'll ever do. If you think about it, all we're trying to do is buy it when it's going up, selling it when it's going down. The problem is that there is this thing in the middle where that's the third direction where it goes sideways. And when it does this, it really chops people up and wrecks their conviction. And Bitcoin has this really nasty habit of sharp moves the wrong way before it goes the right way. You know, it'll have a sharp move up to trick everybody. Like here, I remember this here tricking everybody that we were going to break higher here. And let me get this stupid thing off. Yeah, if you're looking at this to this level, everybody says, oh, we're going up, and then down it goes. So it loves to do that. Anyway, we will have a pullback. You will. It always does happen, I promise. Okay. 1-inch MATIC RUNE Nano. So I think I did RUNE. Yes. Above 1080 then, RUNE should fly. We're going to look at Nano FTM dots. So Nano. Okay. I've got a bit of a alert there, but I'm going to take it off. Now, see this thing here where we, especially let's look at it on the daily. See where we made this marginal new high? Okay, sometimes, so we talked about corrections. So sometimes you'll have a rally and your correction should look like this, right? And then up you go. And then sometimes it'll look like this. And these two legs will be equal and it's still your correction and up you go again. Sometimes though, it won't, it'll be even more annoyingly complicated than that. Sometimes you'll have your rally and then your B leg like this, and so you have your rally. This is your first leg, and then your second leg will make a new high, and then you'll do this and you'll carry on in an uptrend. This is, and sometimes it'll be like this, and this one will make a wild new high and then carry on. Sometimes it'll look like this, and these will be your, and it won't even look like you've made a correction. It'll look like the trend, but it is. So if we look at this here, we've had the drop. So this was our first leg of correction, and this was our second leg, B leg, and this is our third leg. How do we know that? Because this one in the middle is 3 waves. So if this was part of our impulsive swing and this was the high, it wouldn't look like 3 waves. So I'm pretty sure that this was our correction here. And this pullback to the 200 moving average is lovely. Double bottom means we're done. Now, when you have a double bottom like this, your first target is the highs in the middle, and above them you should go twice the distance, which puts us up here. So looking really nice in Nano US dollar, really, really nice. Wasn't quite, but it's pretty close, wasn't it? So again, if you know, we could end up, so we've got all of our 4-hour moving averages bunching up here, and we could do a bit of a sideways range. We're either going to all the way up to the top before you get a pullback. We might get a shallow one here, you know, in this swing up here. I say any pullback in Nano is a really nice long entry. I think we're destined for new highs, and so that's what I'd be looking for. So yeah, really bullish Nano, even though it looks a bit funky with this sideways range. That's what I do like the look of this. Confirmation that we're going high. So see, when you have a big thrust candle like this, very often 50% in the middle works as support and resistance. So for example here, or in this green one, if you had to put an order 50% back, you would have got filled, the low wouldn't have been taken out, and up you go. And 50% works that same way in down candles. And they're important in Japanese candlesticks, because at the moment we could call this a little weekly inside bar, wouldn't we? But if the Japanese candlesticks, so a little harami, but it would be a bullish harami if we close more than 50% up of the previous down candles open close. So if our little inside bar closes above 8.11, that would be a bullish harami. And when we were looking at this before, we were looking at 8.10, weren't we? So 8.10, 8.11 is the resistance for Nano, and above it should look really good. FTM, haven't seen FTM for a bit. Don't know what that one's doing. Let's see. Isn't it interesting how many altcoins all have the same pattern? And here's another one where this really just looks like 3 waves. Doesn't look like 5 waves up. I don't even know how I do that, but either way, I do really like this 200-day moving average. If I put log scale on and we see how much we came back to a lovely 786 fib. Okay, so we'll take that off, go back to linear. It's only important really for the fib rules of where we're likely to rally to before we have a bigger pullback. If you reverse it at 786 fib, which we did here, your confirmation that you've reversed is above the 61.8, which is here at 0.367, and above 0.367 we should go to at least 0.593 and possibly 0.732, and so there's the meat of our trade above that level to here and to maybe here. So nice setup in FTM above 0.367. Buy pullbacks to have a go at that level and see what happens. If we can't break above it, obviously we're a little bit stuck still in a downtrend. FTM, so DOT, so many. Like, it's hard to believe so many alts are all going to go and work at the same time, isn't it? Anyway, DOT. We'll start with the weekly. Let's have a bit of a chart cleanup here. Cool. Another sort of a bit of a double top funky correction, wasn't it? Or, you know, so this one's overshot the 61.8. That's all right, because 61.8 levels can be very messy. You kind of can do that. The important thing is you recover them. If you get underneath at 61.8 and it becomes resistance and you turn lower, that's when you've got a problem. So that didn't happen here, but we still got this 200 moving average to get above to say we're going up. And then we've got this level here at this 50%. So two really issues that we need to get above to be going up from here. So now if this was A, B, C, then this 5 waves down says that we're probably complete. And I actually really like this chart as well. I think this one has lots of upside. I would say the 236 fib going this way as well. And there's 200. If we can clear both of these, you know, we really are on our way. So Miranda, I'm going to answer your question right at the end about I'll finish with Bitcoin, because no, there is still a possibility. No, we still could go to 27, believe it or not. I'll explain how. How do I draw accurate supply and demand zones? You know, like supply and demand are really kind of support and resistance, aren't they? The problem is they're zones, aren't they? So they're not always that easy to get accurate. I think sometimes when you're drawing them, you know, it's simple because you can, you know, I try and line up as many. So for example, when we made the high, this demand zone here, I need to take my thing off for a second. We had this demand zone here. And every time we dipped in it, so I try and get it as close to as many touches as possible. But I also look very closely at it closes, you know. So for example here, this close level became the price, didn't it? And then not only was so this closing high here, the daily close price, was resistance, but then it also became support once we got above it. So sometimes it's not just the tail. Sometimes you do need to look at those daily and weekly close prices as well. They can be really important. I would say the only other way is practice. You just keep doing it. You know, even if you're not trading something, just do a bit of analysis on the chart. Where would I buy? If you say to yourself, where would I want to buy it and where would I want to sell it? And put those lines on and then see what happens there. Hi, Jack. Jack Gwen. Good to see you. All right, then. So DOT, not entirely sure, but it looks pretty good. We don't have to creep very much higher for this to be a confirmed bullish reversal. And I like DOT, yeah. So again, we'll just use the fib levels from the low and use them like a ladder. So if we get above this 236 fib, I think look where this daily moving averages and these lows and highs are. Good chance that we go to that 50% next. If we go beyond that, we'll go to the daily 50 moving average, 61.8, and we'll go step by step in DOT. But yeah, potentially this is a big correction and we could see new highs. KNC, ETC, KNC. Okay, wrong one. Hold on. That WPR, I kind of like that one too. We were talking about that in my group this morning. Like that one. Now this one, KNC, when you reverse to the 61.8, which we did here, double topped at it. First target is, so the pivot level in the middle, first target is the 38.2. So that's what we did, look, on that first swing. 61.8, 38.2, all the way back, retest the 61.8. This is what you tend to do in this zone. And then this time, this 38.2 didn't hold, so the 236 did. That's pretty cool. We know then that if we get back above the 38.2, obviously we're going up again, and so on. Is this a big three-wave correction where we've just overshot? Maybe. I just would like to measure this, because this... Yeah, no, I think this is right. Sometimes, you know, when this next leg is 1.618 of the first leg, sometimes you can see another leg, and so it can be not the bottom. Good chance, though, I think that KNC, this is the bottom. But I'd really like to see it above this daily 200 moving average. I think that otherwise there is a risk that we, first time there, we get knocked back for a deep pullback before we go up again. So 1.87, if you're long already, 1.87, watch out what happens there. Interestingly, if we look left, you know, at this support and resistance, this is also around here, isn't it? So yeah, this is another one that's looking good, isn't it? It's gone just literally up in a straight line, really grinding, short squeeze, very little dips back to let people in, very little. At some point that will change. I'd watch for 1.87 then, see what happens there. Okay. KNC, above 1.87, we've got a nice bullish reversal. Do you know though? Sometimes you just need to zoom out and take a look and think about it. Yeah. So 2.35 then. Let's see what happens there. Okay. You know, when you drop with this much momentum, see here, when we had this big drop, and sometimes you need to take a little bit of time to go sideways before you turn the ship around to start going up again. So big pullback, and it took a little time to turn the ship around. Again, when we made a bottom, same thing, you know. This tail, though, is very positive for KNC, that we are done with going down. Let's take a look at ETC, OMG. So yeah, great level to bounce from. Let's see, we should go back to at least the middle from here. Now, if we're looking at Ethereum Classic on a weekly chart initially. This is a very nice chart because we held the uptrend pretty nicely. We didn't even get back to the weekly 20 moving average. Pretty sharp drop though. Let's see where we are here in terms of, because we're sideways at the daily moving averages in Ethereum Classic US dollar. I'm going to log on so that I can let's just do this most recent swing. So from this is the most recent swing. I'll line it up. Okay, so perfect double bottom at a 786 pip. That makes it nice and easy because I don't have to draw these lines, because it means if we get above the 61.8, we're going up. We've reversed the trend in Ethereum Classic. 69.01 really, but 69. So double bottom above 69, we're in really good shape to keep going higher. And above the 20 moving average, I think probably correction done, but it's not super clear. 38.2 anyway is the first level that we should get to before we see a bigger pullback. Okay, so that's at 109. We're at 64 now, so the 109 target is pretty nice. We do need to get above 69 to get there though. Yeah, very nice bottom, isn't it? Damn. I hate that. So sometimes, you know, wave one or leading diagonals, they are there to mislead you, because this does look a little bit corrective. So I'm going to be cautious in Ethereum Classic. But yeah, it's making all the right moves so far. So let's get out of that log scale. Great place to rally from. Above 69. Should see 109. OMG Alpha Ren. Okay, OMG Alpha Ren. And then I'll do Ripple as well, because why not? Ripple looks great. Okay. Everyone can tell me how it's such a rubbish coin. I kind of agree, actually. But in fact, I don't really even think of Ripple as, but you know, let's not go there. It's a chart, it's tradable, and it moves. Sorry, Jack, it's a bit yeah. Above 60, here's the meat in your sandwich between these two levels. Between that, for sure. Between 69 and 109. All right then. We're going to look at OMG, aren't we? And I was being a bit dull. So here's another lovely one that has come all the way back, bounced off weekly 50 moving average. Look at what a lovely support this weekly 50 moving average was back in December. Here we are doing it again. In fact, in terms of the weekly, this is almost a bullish reversal already, because all we need to see is a close more than 50% up on this red candle, and we're above that 50% level now. That 50% level is at 6.79. See how I have not put it on the tail? It's the body. Open, close of the body. Okay, 6.79. That's cool. Oh, look, also 6.79. It's that big hourly 200 moving average. There's loads to like about this. Previous highs, and so I'm pretty bullish now if we can hold above here. Really bullish. Okay, I don't know who Mrs. Isabella is, but this isn't her video, so see you all later. Cool. Next one. Let's zoom out. So we've got our bullish reversal. Looks pretty good. We're going to go high to low. We're above the 2-3. So support is at 6.2. Next resistance up is at 7.95 and then 9.36. And we'll go like that. 6.2 support then. Fuck us. Okay. 6.2 support then. 7.9 is the next resistance. We've got to get through these moving averages in the middle, and if we're going to keep going higher from here. Not entirely sure that this is correction complete in this one. Let's just quickly put on the weekly and see how far back we came. 786. Okay, so that means our target is this 50% level, and it is that 38.2 next here. So 9.6 is for sure our target. Okay, good luck. OMG Alpha Ren, and then Ripple Alpha. We're going to look at Alpha. Okay, so it starts on the weekly with this one. Look at this lovely three-wave correction with three waves in the middle. This is great. Once this finishes, or when you've measured your equal measured move, we should see hopefully new highs when we move out of this correction. High, low, high. Perfect equal measured move, wasn't it? And if we go from the lows here, 786, textbook. So our first, let's go from here. Our first resistance is going to be 1.82, these highs and lows. And then above 1.82, potentially these highs. But then I'm looking for new highs in Alpha. I think this is a great place to bottom. So now it's just a matter of when is it going to go up. Well, underneath this 200, look at how tough this resistance is going to be here from these lows and that 200 moving average. Going to be really tough, isn't it? 1.136. So above there. So we might go back and forward here while we make a bit of a base, like we did here and like we did here. Okay, that's normal. So don't panic if it comes back and it retests 0.645. That's how it made a bottom both times and, you know, before. Okay, so then 1.13, above 1.13 and the 200-day moving average, we're looking for 1.82 and 2.25 in the top of the range. And then hopefully new highs. Ta-da! It's not a bull trap, we don't know yet. That's Alpha. Here's Ren next, and then we're going to do Ripple and recap Bitcoin. So Ren, so let's look at this on the weekly again. Now we kind of overshot our level here, 786, but that's okay if you recover it. It may be that we've drawn it wrong as well. So let's instead look lower time frame at this. So if we did one of those funky irregular corrections, I would expect this first leg and this final leg to have a bit of a relationship, or maybe from here. Anyway, if I haven't measured it right, I would look for a breakout from maybe this channel, or my confirmation would be back above the 236 fib or back above the 200 moving average. Well, the 200 moving average is a little bit far away. If I can get it a little bit closer if I use this 236 fib. So, and really actually we should say these previous highs are first resistance, aren't they? So if this is the final leg, 0.474 above there would be my first nice signal that we're going up, and then these previous highs and so on. I think it's, well, I gotta say the level's a bit woolly, but Ren, yeah, I think they're all gonna go together, aren't they? All of these coins, they're all gonna go together. So first off, let's look for a bottoming pattern on the hourly. We've gotten above this previous high here and these highs here, haven't we? Almost. Let's not let her come back and close underneath. Okay. Almost. A head and shoulders pattern would be nice here, wouldn't it? That would be a very nice buy signal if we could do that. Remember, we're looking for 3 waves of correction, so something like that would be a good signal. If we come back to these lows here, that would be back to 0.4, wouldn't it? A little bit lower than where we are. Really, really amazing support and resistance at 0.4. These closing, this closing low here on the red, these lows here. Yeah, really good place, wouldn't it be? So 0.4 is where I would like to see this come back to buy in REN US dollar. And then my first upside target would be 0.65, 0.88, 1.06. Okay, Ripple, and then Ripple, and then Bitcoin again. Ripple. So I'm looking at Ripple against the dollar. This is another one. Look, 3 wave correction, 200-day moving average, like great support and resistance. Look, from these 2 highs that he didn't close back below. This is what a correction should look like. It's perfect. So our only question for this Ripple is, are we going to retest the lows, or should we buy now, and so on. So let's say if we put our fibs on from this high to low and we get above the 236 fib, we're probably not going to do a full retest of the lows. We'll keep going higher. So getting above 0.954 will confirm whether we're going to go back and do that or not. Or it'll help anyway. So above 0.954, we're looking for 1.14, but then 1.30, 50%. Next, and then, because this is an ABC, our next target, our next official target is 1.685. So first target, second target. Good luck in Ripple. I'm super bullish, Ripple. Wouldn't it be nice if we made a little head and shoulders pattern here too? Something like this. That would be nice. Hope you don't get too chopped up in this one. I know how sometimes it can be a bit. Okay. Ripple US dollar tether then. I'm bullish above 0.954. First target is 1.6. Try and buy a pullback if you can. Okay, fuck off, Mrs. Isabella. I'm not joking now. Next one, lastly, we're going to wrap up Bitcoin again. So, mostly what people want to know is this low that we're buying against here at this 50% level safe? Or are we going to see one more drop lower before we go up again to this 27,000 level? The truth is I don't know, but I do know that if we get back above this 200 moving average, it's quite unlikely. And so that's at 40,300. And if we get above this 38.2, it's definitely not happening. So a little bit of resistance zone coming up, but the other side of it will then become support for us to keep going higher. Okay, I am going to now let's talk about the chances that we could still see this 61.8. Well, yeah, if we can't, remember, it's like a staircase. If we can't get above here, we could still see that for sure. We could make a correction very similar in scale to this one, do that here, and then still do that leg. Very, very, very likely. Let's measure them. Just do that from here. The corrections. There it is. The equal measured move to theirs is just a little bit higher. So yeah, we could do this, and then we could do this, and then we could do that. And there's your 27,000. Oh, the main trend. Okay, so when we were in, that's simple, because most people's definition of a trend is to do with highs and lows, swing highs and swing lows. So in Bitcoin, when did this lovely uptrend in Bitcoin end? It ended here. Why? Because that's where we broke the previous swing low. So it ended here. Then you wait for the 50% retrace. You put your stop above the highs and you sell until you get the reverse signal. So, Jenny T. Don't need that. So in this uptrend, right? Let's go to a 4 hour. If we take up these highs, so if you think that in a downtrend it's lower highs and lower lows, as soon as we're above these highs, we're in a 4 hour uptrend. And then we let it become that uptrend and then buy the first dip. That's how you trade it. Okay, good night everyone. See you. Oh, it's bank holiday this week, isn't it? See you next week.